Hey everyone, and welcome to the Infinite Respawn podcast. I'm Chicken.
I'm Oak Tree.
I'm Griff.
I'm Bucket.
What a weird pause, bruh.
I know.
I feel like yours went on longer than usual too, though.
He did. He was trying to
I did
establish.
because of his pause.
Oh,
Yeah, see?
okay.
I had to establish the timing that was there.
Exactly.
I don't like it, especially
You
since
gotta
short
mix it
show.
up every
Come on,
once in a
go,
while.
Go.
Short. Okay. We got a few articles.
I just have laundry
I'll-
to do, and I can't do it tomorrow. So.
I'll headline them, and then we'll just move on. Okay.
Oh, that's it. That's
Yeah. Just headline them, and we go.
whatever. What are we talking about first?
Well, the first thing we have been talking about for months and months and months is it's finally announced the Switch 2. It is named the Switch 2.
You mean not Switch U or something ridiculous?
The Switch U2.
The Switch U2.
There's a band that would claim copyright on that, I'm sure.
Yep, somebody's out there being mad. So they have announced it. It looks like the Switch.
Why is it
just
special? What's different?
A nice upgrade. It's more powerful. It is going to be backwards compatible.
It's bigger.
It's bigger. Uses the same cartridges. Pretty much everything.
Does it still have the stick drift? These are the important questions.
Apparently not. The way they've redesigned them, it's not supposed to. I will say, looking at it's a little sketchy because now the Joy-Cons slot into the side, so there's
slot.
There's a small little connector that they have to slide into, which makes me believe that it's a fail point. Because if they bend or break or anything, like. But I know Nintendo very well that they are kid-friendly stuff, so I'm sure they're trying it, and it might be hard to break.
It makes me wonder if what we couldn't see when they were doing it, because they're magnetic, right?
No, they're not well, I guess they're a little bit magnetic. They tried full magnetic, but they couldn't make them stick.
So what I think what they're doing is when they pop those in, I want to say there's probably a release at the top or the bottom that we couldn't see in the video that they showed to give us that click sound. And then at the same time have a release to be able to release it off versus just because my thought processes was if you're in an intense game, you're kind of gripping that a little bit and I could just see it going and popping right off.
Yeah, I agree with that. I will say one of the suspected features, I don't think it's been confirmed yet. I haven't seen it confirmed yet, is that the Joy-Cons can double as a mouse. Like you put it sideways so that the sensor part is on the bottom and you can treat it like a mouse.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if that's really what it's for.
You could just type it on the screen.
The screen's a keyboard.
Yeah, but if you have an ability to use a mouse off of a Switch would be pretty interesting and open up things a lot. Especially for sim games like Civilization and things like that, where you could just set it up and you don't have to hold it, you just use your mouse and you can kind of click on everything.
Yeah, I mean, and Civilization's supposed to be on Switch, so like I can see that being a thing. But I also, some people are thinking that it's going to be whatever their next iteration of. Remember when they made the thing where they were like all cardboard cutout things that came along?
Nintendo Labo.
Yeah, the Labo. They think it might be for the new iteration of Labo as well.
Well, that shit was cool that they made. If that comes out again, I might consider getting one for Nuggy because he's really starting to get into games. Man.
Oh yeah, he is.
He's impressing me. He's getting movement down and response time. It's pretty incredible to watch in real time.
Oh, it's unreal. Like especially like my child will tell me everything I need to know about Stardew Valley, and she's 9, and I'm like, oh god.
I let him. He likes when I play Supermarket Sim, and I know this is a little aside, but I'm not going to talk about it at the end of the show. Because he likes to pick up the boxes and he thinks he's stealing them. And I was like, cool, he can do that. And I walked away. And I came back to my stalkers loading in a mountain of boxes because he spent like $600,000 buying all of the basic products multiple times.
$60,000.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Because it was. I had to buy like 2 more stockroom spaces.
You don't have $600,000.
I did.
Yeah, you would have used all of my money that I had on my.
I had to buy a whole new like couple of sets of areas and whatnot because he's figured out how to work it. So he went to the little blackboard, opened it himself, went to the tab and clicked all of the stuff multiple times, and then managed to hit buy. And I'm like,
The most impressive part to me on this whole thing is he can't read.
Yeah, so how did he
He's-
know the buy button was like what it did? I guess he was just clicking
So I don't-
around really.
And I'm not taking anything away from Nugget because I think he's brilliant, but it's one of those where it's like, also how brilliant are the people that manufactured the game to where he was able to figure that shit out and know exactly what he was doing.
I don't know if he knew he was buying things. I think he was clicking pictures to look at them and then managed to click the buy button somehow. Like, I don't
That's
know
fair.
how. I don't know how we got to this. All I know is I came back to an absolute mountain of boxes outside of my store.
You need
my
to
little
post a
stock
picture
people.
in the Discord of that of the mountain because that
God.
picture is ridiculous.
I don't have to
It's
go
so
back and
funny.
find it. But yeah,
He tried to do the same thing to me. Like, I walked away, he was playing moving boxes. I come back, I go to sit down, I add a couple of things to the cart to buy, and I'm like, why is the total 73,600? I added 2 things, and I scroll through, and this child added 35 stacks of all the produce. Like, because the little plus button adds the entire produce section. He clicked it 35 times and added it. I was like, I don't need 15,000 apples. And there's no way to manually remove. I had to click all of them to remove by hand. I'm sitting there going, oh my God, how did he add this many? Before I had to get rid of it. Yeah.
I posted
so he
the
almost
picture.
got me.
And that's after my little stock people had already been, like, who knows how long, had already been trying to load the boxes in. So that's not all of it, but that's more than
They
it
weren't able to
should
keep
be.
up.
They weren't.
Yeah.
They weren't. I think I had, like, 2 people working the storage thing. So just 2 little employees walking back and forth going, I hate my job, but I can't quit. Yeah. Sorry. I didn't mean...
That'd be a
You were
good game
talking
for
about the
Switch too.
kids. Yeah, that would be a good
Yes.
game for Switch. There's like 30,000
Together is
copy
great.
versions of that game. I think that game is actually a copy of one of the other ones, but oh man, like that would be a great game, a great chill game for Switch. And you could use the mouse would be helpful in that too.
Which is why I think it's like that. If they can fix that technology, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna open up so much venues for the Switch.
I would still, because I'm an old person, if they're going to let you do that with the mouse, I would like a USB port so that I can use an actual keyboard instead of the on-screen keyboard.
That's assuming you need a keyboard. If it's even iterated for a keyboard, it might just only have mouse functionality.
I mean, that's true.
Yep.
Whatever it is.
I mean, you could use the mouse in the right hand, and then your other Joy-Con is something in the left hand. So
That's fair.
So now you've got like an actual mouse and a Joy-Con to like move your screen around and then click. Like there are a lot of options, and I leave it to Nintendo to be able to handle like development of something like that because it's kind of awesome.
It's kind of like there's a controller. I've got it. It's not called a nunchuck, but it's very similar to that. And that's basically what it is for somebody that is used to having a controller but wants the precision of a mouse. Basically, the left hand controls just like but you have buttons that you program on there on what they would do, and then you would use the other side as a mouse. But you would I mean, if you think about the way the actual Joy-Con is made, it has an option. You got a thumbstick that's right there and you also have a trigger, right? So I guess that would be your left and right clicks, maybe. So I could see them use it for a shooter.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how they do that. Anyway, that's the Switch 2. We'll finally see it. I think the rumors are the feeling is going to be around a June release, which would be perfect for them. They like to always do. They've learned how to front load the sales and then give it time before the holidays before they get that big boost at the end of the year. So they do it for this part and then do massive sales there at the end.
And that June guess is based on the fact that April 2nd is their next announcement where they give us more details on the unit itself. And then there's also events that are taking place worldwide. And the last one ends at the beginning of June. So it's it would make sense that they're trying to build up the hype and then have the release.
I'm just glad it's going to have some kind of backwards compatibility to it.
Preach it, brother.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Because they could have easily gone, all those old, Switch games that you bought up and like to play, yeah, you're gonna have to buy it again.
Well, I mean, they're
Yeah.
notorious for trying to resell us shit we already bought, so makes sense.
Oh yes, for sure. I mean, they're getting better about it. Like with the Nintendo Switch Online thing, they just keep giving us old games and things like that.
Mhm.
Man, I lost my train of thought.
That happens to me all the time. I know how you feel.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I got a thought for that, but it just, I then it came back and then it went away again. I was like, oh, brain, why you do this? I should have grabbed it when it came back. But yeah, it's looking like it's gonna be pretty good. Hopefully, it'll release soon, or at least we'll get to see more information about it and see how it's actually different and see more specs about it, things like that. But I mean, I don't plan on getting one. I got the Switch; it works fine for me. It's all we need to play Minecraft most of the time.
I'm sure it'll eventually, like in 2 years from the release, it'll be where there's going to be games that are you can only play on the new one, if not even the newer Mario Kart, which is one of the things they teased. So I can see them.
I
eventually.
would say I could see that, yes and no, but I can also see if this is just like a more powerful version of it, that they will just give you two quality options. It's like, this is the Switch version, its quality is not as high. This is the Switch 2 version, its quality is higher.
I can
Buy
see
your
them
own.
doing that at the beginning. I think eventually it's going to be to where they're only doing the higher. It's kind of like when PS5 first came out and Xbox first came out. There's two versions of the game that comes out, and then you have the Series X, Series S version of that game that's an upgrade. And then it's up to the developer whether or not they give that to you for free. Same thing with PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 versions of games.
Yeah.
And then they charge you $10 extra if you want the PS5 version of the game.
Yeah.
Why not?
Oh, yeah, no kidding. All right. The next one is a movie. It's about Sonic, of course. We saw it. Sonic 3 is a great movie. Check it out. It's awesome. But right after Sonic 3 came out, they announced Sonic 4. And they announced the release date for Sonic 4. It's,
I can't believe it has a release date.
March 19th, 2027, and they don't even have the crew ready, which it's not surprising because I'm sure they're just going to bring back the director and everybody that's been working on them for the last couple, because they just have struck gold, in my opinion. Like they have definitely, and I still, tinfoil hat, I still believe that first version of Sonic was a marketing tactic. Tinfoil hat off.
I
Because
mean,
how do you show the world that and be like, this is Sonic? Or it's like, no, it's not. And then I don't know. I'm a little sus on that. It started with that and ended with this.
I don't think it was. I just think that on that one, that was the decision of someone higher up that had what was completely out of touch with everything. And they approved the design, and when they saw the backlash, they went, "Oh shit! People are not going to be happy about this."
Yeah, but when has that ever stopped fucking big CEOs?
I mean,
But when they realize that it's not going to make them money,
Yeah, because that.
Okay, when has that ever stopped CEOs? I've watched them do terrible adaptations, still sit on it, eat shit, and go, I wonder how that happened.
unless Sega basically stepped in and went, "No, you are not putting this out there."
That I
would
be
believe
willing
that.
to fight, because Sega is one of Sega's few final stands out in the world. Is the Sonic? He's always been such a. Honestly, he's almost like a counterpart to Mario. He's the blue version.
Yeah.
He's the blue of Mario's red.
Him and Mario's rivalry is, yeah, that's.
I need to see them on screen together. I want them to be opponents, and then they become friends at the end,
I don't
because
think
that would
that's
be
gonna
pretty
happen.
neat.
That'll eventually happen.
You think
Oh,
so?
it's-
But you would
it's
have
definitely
to-
going to happen.
You would have to send like Sonic back to his home world instead of with the humans. Because honestly, with the Sonic movies, with the exception of Jim Carrey, the humans are probably like the absolute weakest thing in that.
Oh yes, yeah, definitely. You gotta set aside Jim Carrey, because that man is an absolute monster and machine. He, like, I can't talk enough about how well they casted him as Dr. Robotnik. Like I used to think
was
of
a
him
bit
before.
worried about it in the beginning because you
Same.
think of Eggman or Robotnik, whatever you want to call him. uh, as like the really big brown dude, and I'm like, oh, they're gonna put him in like these really bad prosthetics, and it's gonna look bad, and no.
It looked
Yeah,
great.
he was great. In the first movie, he doesn't even look like it, and then he gets crazy at the end of the first movie. You're like, oh, there's his mustache, and then he loses his mind in the second one, and then the third one's even better, and it's like, man. And
I
he
haven't watched
doesn't do
the third one yet.
sequels. He does not do sequels, let alone threequels.
He rarely does sequels.
Yeah.
Yes, it's super rare
And
for
I
him
think
to
this
step
is
into
like the
one.
first time he had done a third entry in a series.
It is, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken,
Because
it is
he did Ace Ventura 1 and 2,
Dumb and Dumber.
and then
Dumb and
yeah,
Dumber and
well,
Dumb and Dumber
and
2.
even
Dumb
then
and
the
Dumber.
second one what was years later.
Yeah, decades later.
Yeah,
which should never have been done. but-
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
yeah, but yeah, whenever he takes on a role or something like that, it always has to give him something to work with. And I will say that when they brought him the script and was like, this is our plans, and he looked at it and was like, I'm in. And when you watch that movie, Baka, you will understand why he read that script and went, I'm in.
He wanted a challenge, and they let him challenge himself. So there you go.
Oh, it's great. Like every time he's on screen, you're like, artwork right here, artwork. Let the man work.
Sometimes I'm just like, hey, can we see more of him?
I know, right?
I know this movie is about the hedgehog, but can I just see more of Jim Carrey and Jim Carrey, please? Thank you.
I like it. I think they handled all the characters and everything pretty well in this, and all the important parts, made it fun enough for the kids, and had enough parts for the adults. But if you're a fan of the Sonic movies, or if you like the first two, you are not going to be disappointed with the third one. It's still gold, still hitting it.
I mean, Keanu Reeves.
Yeah,
I'm honestly really surprised how well the Sonic movies have done.
I'm glad. I'm glad that we're finally getting some okay video game movies. Like, again, they're not cinematic masterpieces.
No, absolutely not. But
No,
they're
pretty.
great.
Okay, so it feels like the video game movies are starting to hit the point of what
Netflix
was it
shows.
like? No, like 90s versions of the superhero movies, where it's like, yeah, this is really good and entertaining. It's not cinematic masterpiece, but they're still really good and entertaining.
Making fun movies. They're fun. They're
Yeah,
not
yeah.
trying to be like Golden Globe,
I mean,
high
and they're
stakes
still
thing.
sticking a bit more to the little bit more to the source material, and
You mean Oscars?
like, and they're not trying to do like this big like with the DCU MCU big
God.
universe.
I don't think they're doing that yet, but
It'll get
there
to
is
that.
there's
I
sneaking
don't want them
suspicions that we're gonna
to.
get a Smash Brothers game after they've made a
Movie?
Zelda game. Yeah, movie. After they make a Zelda movie, which I think they're already working on a Legend of Zelda movie, if I'm not mistaken.
They
I
got to
haven't
do
heard that.
Metroid,
Yeah, they're gonna do Metroid, and then like I have a feeling that
Kirby,
they're gonna try to.
Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong's already here.
He's
Already been established
Mario.
in. Yep, he's already been established in the Nintendo universe.
Super
The
Mario Brothers movie.
But they'll give
I
him
don't
his
know.
own movie.
yeah.
Yes, Legend of Zelda is in development and
I
is
knew it.
slated from anywhere from 2026 as late as 2029.
Yeah, I figured. Nintendo is going to be serious about that. The Mario movie was super good. I enjoyed that one too. So I have a feeling that they will hold a very strict standard to their
Well, which
movies.
version of Zelda are we going to get in that? Because I
Says
don't
the
want to
movie
watch
is-
an hour and a half of Wind Waker.
It says the movie is being co-funded by Nintendo and Sony.
Oh,
With Nintendo financing more than 50% of the project and heavily involved in the production. As
Yeah,
of
it's just
now,
not
there
surprising.
has been little news
Yeah, if they
regarding
do more than 50%, then they can go, look, no, we have creative control of this.
oh, yes,
which
for
they
sure.
should anyway. It's their product.
Mhm.
It says there's no news regarding the casting of the iconic characters Link and Princess Zelda, which is one of the biggest challenges for the production team.
kidding.
It is not saying what the actual plot line is. The good thing about Zelda is because of the fact that basically they're different timelines, if you will, based on the way
Yeah,
that the
they
games
could
are
make
written.
a whole something unique, or
Yeah, you can create something and just say
storyline.
this is another
I just
Zelda
meant
story.
I don't want to watch the art style of Wind Waker. That one
I
has
don't
to
think it'll be the
It's
art
live
style.
action. It's
Yeah.
live action.
Oh.
It's going to be a live action.
Oh no.
Mhm.
I don't know about that now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. but
Sonic was live action. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Sonic himself was not. You know, they didn't, you know.
Well,
but
yeah,
the
the
charac-
monsters probably won't be, but the humans will be.
Yeah, I mean they're humans, so it's a little different.
No, they're not.
That's
Well,
not
no,
true.
in the live action version, they
I mean,
will
they're-
make it so that the humans are live action and the
The
monsters are going to
humanoids,
be
Humanoids.
Yeah, the humanoids
yes,
are going to
because
be
as Black said, Link and Zelda are not
yeah,
human.
They're Hylians.
Yes.
yeah, whatever.
They're like little
Hylians.
elf people.
Humanoids,
Humans don't have like freaking pointy ears like an elf.
whatever. Humanoids. There, you happy
Oh,
now?
good.
You
Mhm.
nerd.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
It's an important distinction, okay?
anyway, before we get stuck
I'm on
on
your side,
the movie
Luca.
topic,
Correct.
this next one I am super excited for. It comes out on the 30th, but the Video Game History Foundation's digital library will be available on the 30th, which means you should have access to go to it and find
Everything.
anything and everything, from games to magazines to articles from 30 years ago. Everything. If you remember that one article, that one Game Informer you got like 27 years ago, and you're like, oh, that was really cool, you could go and find it. It's all part of the digital library of everything game.
I like the idea of the fact that you can use it for, like if you're trying to do some research on like the history of, we'll say Zelda, because we were just talking about it. You can go back through the old magazines and see what they were saying about it at the time, what ratings they might have been given at the different magazines, and then move forward with it. So I think this is something the industry needed, I think, is to have somebody that's like, we're going to do this. I mean, you're getting to the point, at some point you're going to end up with like the video game Hall of Fame mentality too, like different directors, different developers, things like that need to be part of it as well. And at some point, gamers, Faker needs to be like the first one that's in there.
Oh yeah, for sure. For an esports player, he's absolutely
like you need to have that, and there needs to be, whether it's here in California where this is based out of, or if it's somewhere else, but there needs to be something that kind of celebrates that. And you could even have some of the statues and stuff that are used for some of the like PAX East and PAX West, where they have them next to their stuff.
That would be super neat.
Or like in this shot, they've got Lara Croft statue in the background.
Hell yeah, that's pretty neat. What of the neat parts about it, like the little blue sky tweet thing? I don't know, the blue sky notification, whatever.
Flutter.
Yeah,
Is that what
flutter.
it's called?
It's got a name similar to that. Yeah.
Oh, does
I mean,
it?
I like the idea of blue sky. I just don't. Again, I don't know what to call it. I'm with you. It's not a tweet,
I'm
so I don't know what
still-
it is
still-
yet.
I mean, I'll call it a tweet, goddammit, anyway, because
Look,
it's
if
not
you
Twitter
know, because
anymore.
you're probably younger
It's
than
the
us. and we're
same
old people
person that
now.
created Twitter, so I'm just saying.
Exactly. But the way they searched up the term Metroidvania, and through all of their articles, they found the first time it was mentioned in a magazine article, which was 2006. January of 2006 is when the Metroidvania term was coined into gamer language, which is pretty neat to be able to find when that was the first time it started.
Would be
being
interested to
used.
see when Souls-like also became.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
When was the first time media started using Souls-like? Like it's neat to be able to go through video game history and find things like little clips.
You'll
like
also
that.
get to go back and see all of the cringe, because you gotta admit, some of like the old Game Informer articles and whatnot, flipping through, because we've all got magazines around here still. Like, ooh, Kojima said that thing in public, and it's in text form. Oh, okay, all right, well that's gonna live forever. And things like that. You get to go back and be like, oh no, uh-oh. And I'm not saying it's all bad. I'm just saying, with time, everything that we thought was really cool in the past has a chance to turn into cringe. And that's definitely happened in the gaming industry.
Oh, definitely.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
So if you can just go back and flip through the magazines, you'll be like, oh, cool. Okay. Oh, God. Oh, cool. Oh, cool.
Yes. Oh man, it's gonna be fun. But yes, that opens up on the 30th, and I'm pretty sure it's free access to everybody. Everybody can go there. It's
It's like
almost
a
like
library.
a Wikipedia for
Like a public library.
Wikipedia for game history. So
80s and 90s, they need to remove some of those ads that were in there.
Again,
Nope.
you have a real chance of
History-
things being cringe once you're past it.
you leave history as is, whether it's that kind of or the other.
Gross.
But yeah. Neat stuff. Opens up on the 30th. I'm gonna check it out. I don't know if I'm gonna be looking for anything particular, but definitely go back and find the first Halo 3 Game Informer where they were just showing it off. Way back in the day, almost 20 years ago. Yeah, that's right. Halo was almost 20 years ago. Halo 3. Halo, the first one, was almost 30 years ago.
I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Everyone's like, shut the fuck up. All right. Anyway.
What's next?
We'll go to EA and save the Xbox One for last because it can be a little bit heavier of a topic. EA, the Origin app is fully shutting down. No more
I thought
Origin
it
app.
already
You're gonna have
had.
to use.
I don't know.
It will shut down entirely April 17th.
I
April
got a
17th.
thing like 2 years ago when I tried to open Origin, and it was like, Origin's moved to the EA app. You have to download that now. Like, you just couldn't use the Origin one, so I don't know how people were still using it.
They have Windows 7.
If you still have Windows 7 or something, updating to the EA app from Origin is probably the least of your worries. You really need to drag yourself a little further into the future.
Yeah, you can't even play on Windows 7 anymore, right? Steam stopped that like 2 or 3 years ago.
Did they? I have
Yeah,
no
I think
idea.
so.
I don't know anybody
Yeah.
that still is.
I think it is because the architecture changed.
Yeah. The main reason for this happening is that Microsoft has fully stopped supporting 32-bit software. So if
I
your
saw
computer
a
is
thing
a
that said that
32-bit
Microsoft
computer,
didn't say that. Microsoft, the 64, they don't make a 32-bit, but the 64-bit will run on 32, and you can still have a 32-bit version of it. They just don't make a standalone 32-bit, is what I read in the comment section, because they're like, just needs to be for real about this, because that's not what it is.
Okay, well, apparently you have to have a 64-bit version of Windows in order to run
Yes.
it, and I guess some of the other ones, it's not going to work right if it's on a 32-bit system or not a real 64-bit system. And their suggestion is, too bad, upgrade your computer. It sucks for you, and you better do it fast or you can't access your EA library anymore.
That's kind of
So
harsh.
first of all, that's kind of like, damn, all right, that's pretty straightforward, but all right, I guess I got to upgrade my whole computer so that I can download an upgraded version of Windows.
I do feel like, though, there's a good chance if you're a PC, like you exclusively use PC to play your games, you've probably already updated past that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't.
Well, you can't upgrade past that. I think 64-bit
Well, no, I meant you've
systems are
upgraded
the main
beyond
systems.
32. So
Yeah.
As of
Yeah.
2025, 32-bit versions of Windows is no longer available for new installations for Windows for Microsoft.
So they're
no
not
more
new
installations.
installations. Okay.
So they'll probably support it for a little while, and then probably by the end of this decade, if I had to guess, it'll be no longer a thing.
Yeah, so Windows 10 is 32 or 64. Windows 11 is 64 only.
Oh.
So if you've upgraded, you're at 64.
Which I don't think I've upgraded yet, but I'm going to have to by the end of this year. This face is going to be unhappy at the end of the year when we're all forced to upgrade again. Ugh, I don't want Windows 11. Ugh.
It didn't bother me. It did for a while, and then within a month.
Yeah, I know. It's the same thing. You go from Windows XP to Windows 10 or whatever, and from Windows 10 onwards, it's like it takes a little while to get used to it.
It wasn't XP, was it? It was
Windows
7,
XP,
7, then 8.1, and then
which was
and
terrible.
then
I didn't
Vista.
upgrade.
Don't forget Vista.
Didn't upgrade to Vista. I went from XP to 7. I held out till 7, and then 7 to 10, and then I'm gonna have to. I've been trying. I do not upgrade my Windows very often, just because of how hit or miss Microsoft is with some of these damn versions.
that one that we gave Snitty originally had 8.1 on it.
Oof. At least it's not Vista. Everybody remembers Vista.
Hey, when I was a kid and my mom got
I
a
don't
computer
because
for the
I was a
first
Mac
time,
user.
Yeah.
it had.
Go ahead. Go.
Our first home computer when I was a kid had Windows. It came with the Windows ME.
Nice.
Yes, good old Emmy.
So yeah, we had bought we bought Windows ME. We had it for like a month, and then my parents immediately reverted back because they were like, "Oh my god, this thing is shit." And
I didn't
then
know what was before.
same thing
because ours
with
came
with Vista.
Yeah.
Like they went through and like, oh, the new operating system, that they installed it, and immediately so many issues were happening with it, and they were just like, nope, we're just gonna revert back. We're just not we're not gonna deal with it. Because Vista especially what was a huge resource hog.
Yeah.
Like it like we had a really nice computer that we had built, and it was just eating everything resource wise.
I think my mom.
Yeah.
Is Chicken? Do you remember? Is my mom's laptop still Vista? She really liked
Yes.
it because she's
Yes.
wrong about everything. Okay.
It's still Vista.
I
It
couldn't
is
remember if
so
she'd
far
updated it
out
or
of
not.
date. Some of the like even Google Chrome when it opens up is like, hey, this isn't supported anymore. You gonna upgrade me?
And my mom's
no.
like, no, I don't think I will. And everybody
Google
else is
Chrome
like,
doesn't work right. Like nothing works right on that computer.
I can't log into this. Can you help me? Well, if you would update your stuff, yeah, we could help you. Unfortunately,
Why I just
probably
get the
not.
other laptop and it's like just use this one. This one actually works. It's updated. It's Windows 11 or Windows 10.
Windows Vista came out in 2007 and was stopped supporting in 2017. So that should give you an idea of what you're
God.
running with right there.
I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
it's my mom.
2017.
She's stuck in the past. It's kind of not to be. It's not surprising with her.
Yeah. Oh.
Anyway,
There was a lot of Windows 10 versions.
yeah, there
Yes.
was. Yeah, there was. But again, I don't understand why
Oh.
people are upset about this because it seems like in the comments people are like, "Oh my god, EA's app was already there and it's literally the same thing."
Yeah, I've also read that that app sucks. Just like worse than the
Chicken and
Origin
I
app.
were talking about it, about how people couldn't find their games and it does all of this weird, funky stuff. And I kind of wonder if it's like Google Chrome, where the more tabs you have open, the more like processing it takes and the more mistakes it starts to make. But it's like the more games you have in your EA library, the more the launcher struggles to figure out what it needs to do. Because I only have like
Possibility.
five. I think I have 5 things through EA. So like I open my launcher to open all of 5 games. I don't really have any problems with it. I do have issues with, and this is the only one, like Steam doesn't do this, and I haven't really experienced anything else that does it. But this app, even if you have Remember Me and Keep Me signed in, will occasionally log you out and take away like all of your, like it doesn't even put your name, your email or whatever. You have to reinsert all of your information and do the 2-factor authentication just so that it'll open again, and then it'll be okay for a while. And then it's indeterminate amount of time later, it will log you out again. So it's write down your password, I guess. But other than that, I haven't had any issue with it.
For those interested and still have Windows 10, October 14th, 2025 is when it no longer is supported.
No, so this year.
Yes, well aware. Unfortunately.
You're not the only one here, buddy. There's people listening. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
well, they can be unhappy with me.
I was just lazy about it too. I didn't update, and I was like, I'll deal with it when I have to. So I guess we're coming around to that.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they had actual names. Like
Are they
the
not?
version Vibranium is what he is currently running right now at Windows 10.
Oh, I thought they were
and
just numbers. I didn't think they had names.
those that upgraded recently in October, since October of Windows 11, is Germanian.
Germanian. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All
I'll
right.
just go with the numbers, thanks. I'm good.
Yeah, there's just different versions of 11, different versions of 10. They all have names.
Okay.
Today I learned.
Yes.
Well,
All
anyway,
right. All right.
What else?
Moving on to the other part of the EA statement. So, Dragon Age Veilguard did not do very well.
Nope.
Okay.
50%
The director
is
the
what
director
it
is
did.
gone, which after 18 years at EA, which
That's not unexpected. A lot of times when projects are over, especially projects that you've been on for a long time, people leave. This is not like scandal, but it's also kind of one of those things where it's like, yeah.
I mean, her 18-year tenure is gone after this game. Like they did not. She did not impress. She did not impress a lot of people with this product. And one of the like it sold less than 50%
Of
than
their
projected,
projection.
and it reached 1.5 million players, which means didn't even sell 1.5 million. It reached
Yeah, that was
1.5.
through all of the
Mhm.
various services and
Yeah,
such.
yeah. The Origin app or the Origin
The EA
subscription
Vault
thing,
thingy
whatever
or
it's called.
whatever.
Yeah, whatever it's called now, and Game Pass and things like that. Like,
Well, it wasn't on Game Pass, or else I would have started up Game Pass. And
Yeah, it wasn't on Game Pass.
yeah,
okay, well, when it does go to Game Pass, yeah, it'd definitely be worth the dollar to try.
yeah. I just,
Mhm.
I just feel like they missed the mark with the game. I'm
They
sorry. It just wasn't.
the two constants that I have heard is the writing and the story. Like those are the two biggest faults. It's the writing was so mediocre and like fisted so badly, and it's like you just
I think
do
you mean
not get that same
ham-fisted. If it was
ham-fisted.
just
Sorry.
fisted, that's a whole new thing that somebody's into.
Yeah, well, that's definitely how some parts of that game felt.
It's
Uh,
it leaned too heavily on being too topical to current instead of being true to it being, a
it was
medieval
also
fantasy.
surprisingly more light than previous iterations because the other
Even though
like
you're dealing with what could be the end of the world, it's fine. It's fine.
especially like Dragon Age Origins or Dragon Age 2 where you had these like deeper topics. They apparently the Mage Templar thing isn't even a factor in this at all, which in my opinion is one of the biggest oofs about this
I
game is
mean,
it's
it's a
like
whole war that hasn't
the
been settled yet and was left unsettled at the end of the previous entry. But sure, whatever. I'm sure they're hugging it out over tea
but they don't
somewhere.
want that kind of topic because that is like the deepest rooted dark topic in all of Dragon Age. Like that one right there is such a
But that's
strong.
what made that series good, is because you had so much to discuss and argue over and debate about, like the morality of letting mages be free or letting Templars still be in the play, or how much power did the Chantry need.
But they wanted it to be softer, and they brought that, and kind of ended up hurting them in the long run because they stepped away from those kind of topics and things like that. And also the lighter thing is the combat in the game gets real
It's
stale and
it's
boring
stale, but it's
mid
also
halfway
samey.
through.
A lot of games have
Yeah.
that similar samey combat now, and it's like,
Yeah, it's where you start losing the fun part, the discovering, the playing part of it. It gets repetitive and boring, and like halfway through, you kind of get tired of
I mean,
the
even
same
in
things.
Inquisitions, a lot of the combat was kind of like, all right, every fight's gonna be exactly like this. Your mage is gonna use this set of spells, and this, that, and but it felt
Yeah.
more engaging than the current
Yeah, but those
stuff.
dragon fights were unbelievable. Like that
But they
was
were also
good
all
stuff.
optional.
I know, unfortunately, like those dragon fights, when you make a fight that has different mechanics that forces you to learn, whether you're 25% of the way through the game or 75% of the way through the game, when they introduce something that forces you to go, oh, gamer moment, sit up, pay attention. How do I overcome this now?
I
Otherwise, you're
wonder
just
if
kind
some
of like
of it,
leaning
though,
back, just kind of
was-
scrolling through it.
I wonder if some of that got scrapped because people complained, and it's an easy complaint to make, that the NPCs did not adjust when you're doing dragon fights, and they added mechanics like this dragon throws down an electrical AoE thingy, and you have to get out of it. If the dragon's standing in it, and you have like somebody like an Iron Bull or a Cole on your team, and the dragon's standing in that thing because it doesn't hurt them, your NPCs are like, yeah, I'm gonna stand in it too because this is where I'm supposed to hit the dragon, right? And it's like, no, he's dead. And I have a dead teammate. Great, because they didn't have the AI to accommodate for that. The player could figure it out, but unless you were really on top of your placement of your NPCs as well and constantly moving them around, but even if you
that
did
was
swap to them
so
and move
difficult.
them, they would go back after you swapped off.
I think you can make it so that they would stay in place because I had to break everybody apart and like set up the fight and constantly rotate the fight to try to get people to stay out of dying. Like, oh my god.
You could do that in Origins. In Inquisition, it doesn't really work as well. In Inquisition, once you swap off of them, they go back to what they were doing. So, I didn't hate it. Again, I think that Inquisition was a really simplified combat style, but I think that a lot of the story beats and other stuff that you could do made up for that. I don't feel like that happened in Veilguard.
Well, that's the thing, is that the story in Inquisition was, no offense, it was okay all
was
the way
okay.
through. It was fine. It felt like a softer version of from the first two games, because the first two games were a lot deeper, in my opinion, and Inquisition kind of softened it up and kind of kept the same tone all the way through, but it was so many of go to this zone, do your collection, do your quests in this zone, go back, go somewhere else, do your zone, okay. And
The
go back
game's
here.
obviously like from Origins onward, even though 2 is really good about a lot of stuff, it definitely, the curve for learning how to play it went down. Like it got way easier as it went on, and which in some respects Origins is clunky. It is dated, it is clunky, it is sometimes hard to manage that stuff. Even as somebody that's like very familiar with the game, you're still like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Why is this doing this? Why is this so hard? But all of them had stories that were really good.
Origin story was really good. The 2 story was pretty good.
2's was, I
3
really liked
was
2's story.
okay. 4 was not very good. Like, Origin story is so good. You're basically backed up against the wall, end of the world. It starts off with a bang, and now you're at the short end of the stick, and you're completely... And now you're like, am I supposed to play the game from here?
I think they tried to give you a little of that with an Inquisition, because it's like, all right, look, you start the game as somebody that's been arrested. Everybody thinks that you're the reason for all of this bad stuff, and they hate you. And now you have to, because you've got this magical thing on your hand, you've got to be the one to spearhead everything, regardless of who you are or what walk of life you're from. You got to figure out how to make people like you and ally with folks and win.
Yeah, that's okay. You could see those parallels from Origins to Inquisition, but my problem with Origins to Inquisition, in Inquisition, you were given main character syndrome. Here's your glowy hand, your main character. Origins, you were like, you're just lucky enough to have not died there. Good luck. You're the last one left. You weren't some chosen hero. You were just a soldier that got lucky, and that's why I like the Grey Warden so much. Is it's like all of that was raw character development. He was just. And you even get a little backstory before you join the Grey Wardens, so you can kind of see your past, and then you start your story. So you have a little bit of character there, where in Inquisition, it's just like, make your character, you wake up with a glowy hand.
And then by the time that you get to Veilguard, your character, from everything that I have read and seen, could largely just not be there, and it's still fine.
Yeah.
You're there in Veilguard to be a cheerleader for the people that you have put together as a team. You are there to pick them up and elevate them, and you might as well just have been their therapist the whole time. That's all you're there for. Your choices are kind of eh. And they also took away your choice to be kind of a dick. Like, even a sarcastic, funny dick. You just gotta agree to everything now. And that kind of sucks.
I'll be honest, I am, because the modders are going crazy in Baldur's Gate 3, I can't wait till someday we see a remake of Dragon Age Origins in the Baldur's Gate engine, like, because it plays pretty similarly, because you could do tactics.
Oh man, it plays
style.
way better. Okay, look, it is way smoother in Baldur's Gate because it's newer and it has a lot of the resources.
Exactly. Like, how great would that be to be able to play out the entire Dragon Age Origins story in Baldur's Gate engine?
How many other games will be remade in Baldur's Gate to go into that though? Like, I mean,
Baldur's Gate 3 is the next Skyrim. It's this decade's Skyrim. You could quote me on that right now in 8 years.
Well,
I mean, it's the next 2 decades Skyrim if it goes based on Skyrim.
Yeah,
I know, right? Skyrim's still holding on strong. To be fair, Left 4 Dead is on its 3rd decade.
Yeah, that's true. And it's still good. Fair. Oh, God.
Mods make games, people. Mods make games. If it can be modded, it, like, quadruples its lifespan. So, but that's our opinion on that. But Dragon Age Veilguard didn't do what it needed to do. And now the rest of the BioWare thing is working on the next Mass Effect, which...
If the next Mass Effect also underperforms significantly, I kind of wonder if that's the end of BioWare.
I'm going to go with yes.
Yeah.
So...
I'm going to go with yes. Like, it's one of those where... they've already done the updated version of 1, 2, and 3, so it's like they've got to have a version of the game that is going to just knock everybody's socks off. And the problem is now everything's under a microscope because of Veilguard. Everything's under a microscope, and it's like, you've got to make sure you hit all the right elements. And I think the best thing you do is you look at Mass Effect 2 and you go, what made this great?
That's everybody's favorite.
Yeah. What made this great? That's what we got to do for our first iteration of the new game.
Well, to be fair, Mass Effect 2 gets to be that great because look at the evolution from Mass Effect 1 to 2. Like, it's almost it's unbelievable the jump. I had to restart the game because I played the first one, started the second one, was like, is this the right game? And I quit, and I was like, wow, this doesn't even remotely feel like Mass Effect in any
But
universe
I think it was a good evolution. It wasn't.
It was.
They didn't water it down.
So much better. It felt so much better to the clunky first one.
Here's another thing a question for you guys. Because we know how their attempt at restarting Mass Effect has already gone once with Andromeda. And it struggled real hard because right out of the gate it was broken AF, and there's a lot of things about it that are not great. If you can divorce yourself from the idea that it's a Mass Effect game and everything that you know about the Mass Effect universe, it's okay, it's passable. So do you think that in light of that, and then Veilguard, what just happened with that, do you think they take risks and see if it pays off for them in the new Mass Effect, or do you think that they overcompensate and make too many extra safe choices? Because I feel like the safe choices is what hurt Dragon Age.
I don't think they have the creative people there to do any of that.
You don't think
I don't
either
think the
one?
people there, I don't think BioWare has the passion and love that they need to be able to write something like that. Like, and I'll go back to Larian. Like, Larian has the writers, the passion and the love for games. And they just do it because they love it. I would don't also know say if
they
EA
don't
has
have
it
Big
anymore.
Brother looking down at them either.
Exactly. Like, they don't have anybody look.
Too.
Well, they had
might
Wizards
have
of
the
the
passion,
Coast.
but it goes back to, if you look back at things that used to the way games were originally written and done, it was one of those where it was like, yes, you had a timeline. We needed to finish this game by a certain amount of time, but it was one of those where they understood the fact that if you put them in crunch, then and you had to where you put them in a finite amount of time, what ended up happening is the game suffered. And because creativity doesn't work well inside that bubble, it has to have room to expand. And I think that's the problem with dealing with EA and Ubisoft and all these massive companies, and even Microsoft to a degree. We're going to see how that works out now with them having the teams below them that they do. But I can, if the creativity's there. It's just a matter of whether those people want to show up to work every day or not and work on what's there. And I think if they've stuck around this long, and let's see if there's a mass exodus now that she's leaving, and she's going somewhere else. Let's see if some of those people go with her, or if they stay behind. Because I think that's where if you've got somebody that stays behind and is there, then most likely they're going to be passionate for it, because you can't pay me enough to be unhappy at my job. There's just not. If I'm an artist, hell no.
I mean,
you just can't.
Yeah.
Especially when there's other opportunities available.
Yeah. I can't see, like, after this one, I just can't see Mass Effect doing well enough, because people are going to hold back and wait. Because there's no faith in what they are going to deliver, and they are going to hold back, and it needs to be explosive. Again, I'm just going to use Baldur's Gate. Like, Baldur's Gate 3, early access, moved its release date up because it was afraid of Starfield, and then released it, and it didn't even sell that well right out of the gate because it was just a bunch of early access people, and then, people started buying it, and then it erupted. Everybody streaming it.
The bigger
everybody
audience
wanted
got
it
to see what it was, because I was in the same boat. I was like, it's a Larian game. I like Larian. I've played like 400 hours in Divinity. I want to see what it's about before I full commit, because it's full price launch and everything. And then everybody was talking about it, and Chicken and I
it
were
was
like,
everything.
maybe, but we really don't want to justify like 2 copies of the same game right now. And then he's like, I'm gonna buy it for us so we can play it together. We played like 2 hours together, and we're like, nah, I'll see you later when
went
we
off
played
and
this
played by
together.
ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
like,
mean,
I mean,
that one was super huge, and I don't know if you can get that same kind of response, because I think you're right, Chicken. I think a lot of people, and I think that's what happened in Dragon Age 2. A lot of people, me, were like, let me wait and see what happens, and if it's good, I'll get it. And if it's not, then I'll do exactly what I've done right now, which is I put it on my Steam wish list, and when that thing hits like 75% off, sure, it's going in the library. But until then,
well, they have to make it a must buy too. It's got to be to
Yes.
where that game has to be to where when people watch it play, and despite what everybody fucking said when Baldur's Gate 3 came out, and they were like, don't expect games to be at the same level. They need to get their game as close to that
you need to
3/4
figure
of the way.
it out.
It needs to be 3/4 of the way there. It doesn't have to be that level, but it needs to be really close, because right now the last iteration of the games that you set out was at about 25%.
Yeah.
And it's like, we need a 3/4. We need that 75% of what we expect, because people can look past bugs if the game is good.
It has to be
because there was
great.
bugs in Baldur's Gate 3, a ton of them.
Oh yes,
Port's got to be there too. We're gonna put everybody stop playing the game. We're gonna push out a massive patch. It might mess up some people's saves, so go ahead and save your shit now, and then we're gonna push out that and then wait.
Yeah.
Like, communication is going to be key, and I think that's the difference. You deal with a company that, though it's a AAA game, is a independent style company versus a company that deals with Big Brother all the time.
How many games can EA really like push their developers around with until they realize that, oh no, look, it's me, I'm the problem? Like,
they'll never admit
no,
their problem.
I don't think they will.
As long as their profit margin is increasing, then they're doing perfectly fine.
They're going to lean on The Sims for it. They'll cut every other studio and keep The Sims, especially since EA owns it directly. Like, they'd already bought out Maxis and kicked them to the curb. They own that property. I think you're right. I think they're just going to be completely oblivious, either on purpose or, to the detriment of the game studios, and then being like, you didn't do well enough. Here's the chopping block. Get in the graveyard with the rest of them.
Yeah, I just don't think EA gives them enough time to do it right. And like Oak said, like, in order to make these creative masterpieces, they need the freedom to be able to work how they want, and to have somebody who has a real strong vision of the game. Like, I don't know what her vision was like of this game, but it feels like she was just too safe with it and didn't understand what the other Dragon Ages brought to people.
Yeah.
She was just looking how to make a good game. It's like, okay,
and they
this game is
focus
okay.
so hard on the companions, which for both Mass Effect and Dragon Age, those are going to be huge components of it. But the storyline has, like, the main storyline for your main character has to be there, and those need to be really important supportive pieces to it. Not your companions are the crux of the entire game, and then I guess that you have to do this thing. Yeah. That's not how it needs to go, and I do wonder what that's going to mean for Mass Effect, as we know that they are returning a character that was in the original trilogy. But again, it's one of the characters that can live thousands of years, so okay, or 1,000 years, because Liara is going to be in it. How do we deal with that? Are you giving me like a time jump where there are new people that I need to attach to? Please do it well, or you gonna it's right after the Reapers, and here we go. Get back on the horse. Like,
I don't know. It'll definitely be something to watch over the next few years.
I also wish they'd acknowledge
I think Mass Effect
how
is the
much,
do or die.
I think they need to acknowledge how much goodwill they've lost with their player base, because Andromeda already burned the core Mass Effect fans, and then you burned them even further with Veilguard. You need to understand that this will probably underperform, because everybody is going to wait and see. You have to like play to those people that you've burned that bridge and you're trying to rebuild it with. You can't just expect this is going to go to a new audience.
I would argue if it's a great game, like, and I'm saying 75% of Baldur's Gate, if it's a great game, setting at 75%, I would argue the first week will suffer. After that, it will not.
Yeah, you're going to see within a week or two how it's going to go.
Because reception is going to be like the entire thing. It's like you're either going to have these people coming out hardcore, and the journalists don't get it. Like we don't care because Veilguard got 8.5 nines. Like the fucking goddamn scoring system in this day and age is absolutely atrocious. Everything is above like an 8, and if it's anything below an 8, it's an absolute garbage game. It's like
what?
Hence why I'm gonna like to go back and look. That's why I'm gonna like to go back and look at all the old Game Informers, all the old magazines when they would have actual scaling of the games. Like, oh, a 6, that's not too bad. I want to try it. I want to see what it's like.
Yep.
What were you gonna say, Oak?
I think the main thing with people have to understand too, like if it were me and I was running EA and I was like, okay, we're gonna put this game out. We want to make sure we had the highest quality game that we possibly could. And the week before the game is released, you give it to 3 major streamers that stream RPGs. And you put them in their hand and you say you get 30 minutes or an hour, whatever you want to do, because it's an RPG, so probably an hour to 2 hours. But that's what you get. And after that, you're cut off. But we want your people to see it. You know what I mean?
You know what would be a really, really good idea? Like, as an addendum to that one, is to go, okay, whilst we are in development, we do have our normal QA staff, but what we're also going to do is bring in that, like, 5 to 10 streamers that is their thing, and people, in the gaming community in general know that that's their forte. Bring them in during, like, development and have them be like, this is not a good choice, or this is amazing. But you have to make sure that those people are also going to be honest. Don't pick out the people that are going to be like, oh, I love it. Thank you so much for inviting me. Everything here is so cool. It has to be their honest opinion, because those are your fans that are going to build the player base for you. And if they don't like your game while it's in development, you have time to make some changes, or at least take into consideration some of the things that they hate about it.
Yeah, just get them to sign an NDA, bring them in, let them play it, let them see a demo, tech demo, whatever you've got, and then you can go from there. Like,
I do think you still do that, though. You still go, okay, here, let them let them, stream out the first 30 minutes of the game or whatever on their channels a week in advance. I think that's also a good idea, but I think
that would be perfect on top of yours, because then they come out with their stream going, all right, guys, now that I could talk about this, I have been doing Q&A on this game for the last several months.
But I can only talk about this section of it.
Yeah, I can only talk about this, and they want me to show this part off. I've given a lot of feedback. I'm pretty happy with what I've gotten to play so far, and yada yada yada, stream stuff, blah blah blah. But
slam that like button. I'm just kidding. Don't do that.
Slam that like button. Slam that subscribe button. The real subscribe. But yeah, like, definitely they got to do something to be able to swap their view from the people, because right now nobody views BioWare as trustworthy. Yes. Yeah, favorable. Like,
you've lost a lot of trust from the people that are going to buy those games.
Yes, unfortunately.
And I'm not saying how do you get it back, give everybody skins or something. I'm saying, like, you
have to earn it.
Give us an action fucking adventure game for Mass Effect either.
It'll be it's going to be a story-based game. It'll be like Telltale, and they're also going to sell it episodically.
Cell shaded too. Right?
Yeah.
Cell shaded.
Actual cell shaded, not Borderlands 4, but
yeah, exactly. It'll be completely different. That's how they try to sell it to you in the early days. They're like, this game's gonna be completely different from any other Mass Effect you've ever played before, and everybody will be like, but that's not what we want, though. You're making one that's in the sequence. We want the thing that we like.
All right. Going on to this, I knew we were going to talk about that one for a while, because
I'm sorry. That was partially
BioWare
my fault.
is such an important company to the people.
It used to be.
For us. No, for us, they were very important when they were in their prime. They made one of the, if not the best, one of the best trilogy. Halo, the original Halo trilogy is the best in my opinion.
You know what?
One of the best trilogies in video game history.
If they knock it out of the park with the Mass Effect thing, maybe it'll earn BioWare enough goodwill to let them do a secret project where they reboot Anthem, and it's amazing on the Second Coming.
Oh, Anthem had so much potential. If any game ever had, like,
just
reservoirs of potential,
it doesn't even have to be Anthem. Just give me a game with those mechs so that I can have that traversal system again somewhere else. It was so fun.
I've never played a game that felt that good.
Oh, God damn it.
Like, holy, the combat, the gameplay of that thing was just, the feel of the mechs, like no matter what you had.
There's your passion right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's it right there. But they were limited by what?
Their
Big
engine.
Brother's anthem, the Big Brother's engine,
Yes.
right?
It needs to be a live service game, and you can only have zones with 4 people at a time because that's how many mechs exist, or whatever reason that we came up with for that.
God, it should have been 16. Like, you should have at least had 16 so that the world felt alive. Every time you go out, there's groups of people or individuals everywhere around the map kind of doing things.
Messed that one up with so much promise in it. Like, you walk by and see the javelins, like, where you do the shopping and everything, or that when they made the garage and you could see everybody else's javelins, but you go out in the world and there's literally only 4 people in a zone, and you're like,
yes.
Oh, I guess there aren't many of us. Anyway, carry on. I'm sorry.
Anyway.
Let's talk about this Xbox thing.
That Anthem still hurts me to this day.
It does. Xbox. You know what? Maybe EA will be like, BioWare, you suck. We're cutting you loose. And then Xbox will buy them and let them do whatever they want.
No. They'll close them down.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably right, but in a perfect world, maybe not.
They'll take them out back and put them into the graveyard with the rest of them.
Damn it.
Yeah, just like with Maxis and all those other studios, they bought up and ran to the ground with their games and be like...
Ran into the ground? No, they shoveled a hole for them specifically and was like, as soon as you're done with that, you're getting in. But I thought we did...
This is EA!
End of the...
Yes, they get Sparta kicked straight into their grave. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what's this Xbox thing all about here?
Xbox says Brain's identity is evolving in response to fan concerns over multi-platform future, which we have talked about this a lot. Xbox, it feels like Xbox is moving off of consoles and focusing on software. Mm-hmm. So, like, it's
weird. A software company is focusing on software. That's so weird.
I know, right? And the rumors, I don't know if it's in this article, but rumors are floating around that they are going to start working very, very closely with Nintendo to getting a lot of games on the Switch too. Because they want multi-platform across the board. They want everything everywhere, people to buy it. If you could if you have anywhere you could play their game, they want you to buy their game. Which is fine. Like, that's a good ideology. So train of thought, literally. Griff, thank you for that. My train of thought just completely disappeared.
I'm sorry. I sent a Discord message in an unrelated channel. That's not my fault that you were looking at it.
It's because it pops up at the bottom of my screen while I was
that's
talking.
not my fault.
And I read it in my head. And the rest of the
off, so I don't have to worry about that because I'm trying to focus on the podcast. But whatever.
Yeah, I know. Normally, I turn my sound off.
Unless my child randomly runs in here.
Oh, yeah. We want to talk about interruptions. All right, that's off. But yeah, Microsoft focusing specifically on the software of their games seems like the actual right way to go, especially with how many goddamn studios they have these days.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at this point, you have so many games. Just start moving products, moving games. Like, your console's fine. You can make one console every 5 years or something that runs. Like, make a home PC that somebody can kind of buy and bring home.
I think that's where it's going to go. I think they're going to end up making $1,000 PC that's high end.
Yes.
But they'll call it an Xbox whatever, right?
Yep.
And people will use it just for that because right now, even with the Series X, you can hook up a mouse and keyboard to it, right? Mm-hmm. So you do it that way, but the advantage Xbox has and PCs have is the fact that you can pay them a monthly fee and get all the fucking games that they have on day one. And that's the advantage they have. If you want to play their game on a different format, you can.
Go for it.
You're just not going to get it for free. But I do think Switch 2 will end up with Game Pass on it as a downloadable app.
Yes.
Huh.
Yes.
And so that way you have that as an option. It'll downgrade it to whatever the Switch 2 stuff is or upgrade it depending on whether it's plugged in or not. Or
they're going to do a package deal. You get Nintendo Switch Online and the Xbox Game Pass.
As a as a discounted
as a discount bonus, because then you get, like, honestly, that would probably be one of the best deals, like, even if it's $30 a month, one of the best deals in the gaming world, because Nintendo Switch Online gives you so much. Like you have access to all the Nintendo games, Super Nintendo games. They're coming out with 64 games, GameCube games, and they're constantly adding everything, like constantly adding games, and having Game Pass alongside that. Like you take your Switch and you're just set. Like I mean, especially with the Microsoft doing new releases straight onto it too. Like
the main thing about that is going to be, one, they're going to use the cloud gaming mainly because one of the things that Nintendo doesn't have to have that everybody else has to have is a ton of space. And so I'm very interested to see how much actually ends up being on that Switch 2 if the rumors are true on that one. Like everybody's going to have to buy one of the little mini SSDs and make sure that they get the largest they possibly can to put in there. Because if you're wanting to play some of the stuff that Microsoft's producing, you're looking at 80 gig minimum.
Oh yeah,
True.
Sure.
Yeah,
you know,
that's true.
So
I think one of these things. I don't know if it was in this article, but I saw somebody talking about like a 16 terabyte storage drive, which first of all is ungodly huge.
I need that.
Like a 16 terabyte storage drive seems.
I mean, I had
it is not a bit much. I need it.
Xbox One, so
I mean, I've got 7.5 in mine right now, and I'm okay floating around right now. Like I'm good right now. But I mean, 16, I'd be set for years.
Yeah.
But
well, yeah, definitely. And for an SSD, yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, it as like I said, we've talked about this a lot, and we'll probably talk about it again. But and that was the other thing. Now I remember what I got. Because Oak said if they make one console that's $1,000, is super powerful. It's very expensive, but it's basically a cheaper PC, but it's very strong. Then game developers can produce for one thing. That's it. Because the problem is, how many times have we heard developers go, "We're having trouble making this game work on the X because we got Microsoft's thing is you got to make it work on the S too or whatever the combination." And the other one
that's
is so
that's why Wukong was only on PlayStation.
Yeah, and the S, I don't know which one's. It's so weak that they have trouble producing for it. So things take so much longer.
The worst mistake they ever made. Let me tell you the advantage of the S. It is the size of a book. Okay, it is this big.
Holy
I've got
shit.
one behind my television upstairs, and I mainly cloud game on it because of the fact that even though I've got space on it, it's not as powerful as dealing with the Xbox Series X. Okay, that is the advantage of that system. It is designed for if you want something that's nice, neat, be able to hide it. It is the perfect unit for it, and you can still play the games you enjoy playing. All right, that's what it's for. The problem is that system it's an Xbox One X plus. That's what it is. It's just like, okay, we've got the better graphics, we got the 4K, but it's not the Series X. Not even close. Where that's the mistake they made. Where PlayStation was smart enough to go, here's a version with the disc, here's a version without the disc. And the price difference. But they tried to get into that $300 market, and it was successful. The problem is now you make it to where you can't play stuff on the S because it's not the rest of the machine's not as powerful.
The S and is not as strong as it should be.
Yeah,
strong. That's right.
The S does not stand for strength.
No. And that's the mistake they made. If they'd made that unit that size and just as very close to as powerful, it doesn't have to be exactly as powerful, but just as close to powerful as the X did, they would have sold a whole lot more S's than they did X's.
Yes. And I'd have to try to find the article, but I saw that no console since the Xbox One from Microsoft has sold more than it. Like from the Xbox One forward, all of their console sales have started coming down from what the Xbox One was. And
I
think
think 360 was their top selling console.
Oh yeah, I mean that like the 2000s era of Xbox 360. Like I mean, you talk about peak, but we're so far removed from that now.
Well, and they would have sold a lot more Xbox Ones, and this is where everything dropped down and people went to jumped ship to PlayStation, is because the Kinect was included, and that raised the price. They would have lowered the price $150. And they'd been, comparable to the PlayStation. Everything else was would there was parity between the two, so it worked fine. But it's like now it's, you know, it's where that unit dropped off, and they fucked up by doing that. And you know, Phil Spencer's come out and said that, you know, but they were the only one that was backwards compatible once it came out. Remember, that was the big thing. They weren't going to be backwards compatible, and they made it backwards compatible. And then they did a great job making that unit do what it needed to do. And then they just added on with the Series X, made a more powerful machine, but kept all that same stuff that they had with the One. Where PlayStation, I feel like they change something every freaking time.
Yes.
And it's like annoying, but I love my PlayStation. I mean, it sits right here, you know.
I mean, like with consoles, to me, it feels like the number one console everybody needs is a Nintendo console. Like that's
Oh, hands
like
down.
The number one console everybody needs to own is the Nintendo console.
Everything else
and
is
rumor,
auxiliary.
Rumor is that it looks like the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be below $400. Like it looks like it's feeling like it's going to be a bit below 400 too. Is the
350 was the original. Was
yeah,
350
so
bucks.
people are starting to feel like that's kind of the feeling from people talking around the
I'm not sure, because it's one of those where technology has gotten a lot more expensive than it used to be. But it's
But
also,
I'm not afraid of Nintendo to take a
Nintendo is the only company that on release makes money off of their console.
yeah.
So it'll be very interesting to see. Everybody else goes out and sells theirs at a loss because they make money off the software. But Nintendo has such exclusive software too. A used version of a 5-year game is still $60.
Yes, it is, because that's Nintendo. So I could see them taking a little bit less of a profit off of that. If everybody else is still losing on their consoles and they make a little less on their consoles, they can still be fine as long as they keep it in that price point and move more because of that price point. So Nintendo is pretty savvy when it comes to things like that. I leave it to them to be able to make their best choices.
Most of the time anyway.
Yeah, no shit. They're over 100 years old. I assume that they know what they're doing now. I think they're like 150 years old now.
I believe that's right.
Yeah,
we looked it up not too long ago, and I want to say
they are an old company. 1889. Yep, they're about 150 years old, close to 150.
Because they were originally a card game or a card company.
Yep. Yeah, but in 1889 they were a card company.
They also owned Love Houses at one point too. So
yeah, let's.
They're a bit of a
Don't look at that part.
stuff. Yeah. That company is diversified over the years.
They own a porn company too, I think.
Currently?
Yeah.
Huh.
So,
yeah, I think so.
They bought it because there was a porno parody of like
you're right.
Mario's or something that someone made. And they bought it to keep it from being distributed.
So if you want to get bought by Nintendo and make a lot of money,
just make a porn version of something that they own.
You go, okay, it's worth this amount, or otherwise I'll release it. You know, too funny.
Oh my goodness. Oh, but yeah. Maybe the end of Xbox consoles, or their focus on the console war, and then moving on to the software part of things, which we've talked about for years. So it'll be interesting to watch this one play out. The rise and fall of the Xbox consoles, their evolution into software only.
I think it's mainly evolution, and I think that it's where it's going to be. What the interesting part's going to be is negotiation between them and Sony, because they've got that 10-year contract, and they're just finished the first year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be very interesting to see where all of that ends up going over the next 10 years as well, because it could be to where if Sony doesn't play its card right, Xbox does go full on console again, type deal, or they make sure that they're supporting the hell out of Nintendo and just be like, okay, you're going to be third wheel then.
Yeah.
They're a throuple now. Yeah.
Throuple.
I mean, that's kind of what Sega's done.
Yeah, pretty much. Sega's given up on the console side. They're like, just makes.
Well, they ran themselves into the ground though, so that was kind of part of it. But
yeah, well, they've done enough to stand.
Well, they got bailed out once by a huge fan of Sega that was a billionaire in Japan. When he died, he donated the money to them.
Oh, they did get lucky then.
they were bankrupt at the time. Got them, at least that's the only reason they survived, but because they had so much debt going on, they overextended for sure. You know, back in the day.
No, I mean, taking their Sega Genesis and trying to make it last not longer with the CD and the 32X that did not help things originally.
No.
It's like, yeah, look at all these add-ons for this one console. Now you got to have like these 3 big brick power supplies taking up room. Good luck figuring out where the fuck they go.
I will artfully arrange them.
Yeah, so you think Nintendo should have learned that when they tried to make the Wii U, and it looked like all they did was add a little controller thing to it, and everyone's like, "Why do I need that?
I don't want to spend that much on a peripheral." It's like, well, it's not though.
Exactly.
It's not though. Damn, they stopped listening.
I know.
If they had called that the Wii 2, I wonder what the sales would have been.
Probably better.
Probably.
Or Wii Evolution.
I definitely think they would have been better.
Wii Evolution.
Weevolution.
There you go. Weevolution.
The Weevolution. Join the Weevolution.
Or the Wii screen.
Again, though, I think if you called it Weevolution, people would think it was a Wii add-on. Right?
Oh, sorry, I just scraped that. That's gonna be.
It's fine. I tapped my little screen thing earlier too, and I was like, "Damn it!"
Okay,
and I think you can hear the cat snoring in the background on my audio. So
nice. You could probably hear my broken fan over there.
actually, no, you can't hear that because
nice.
I can't hear it, so I know that's not being picked up. But I do think you can hear Eleanor snoring. Sorry.
I haven't been able to hear the cat, so.
Yeah. Also, I noticed that our my Discord connection thing has been a little iffy. So far it's holding up, but
it was a little rough earlier. But
yeah, if anything drops out,
we turned. All right.
That's the last. Playing. Yeah,
that's the last article for that one.
We can talk about what we've been playing, and if it disconnects you, then I'll talk about what I was playing because I'm the special one that has the video recorded. So I'll just talk to myself.
I'll go first. I got a couple we've been playing. Of course, been still playing Enshrouded. We're near end game on Enshrouded. I'm just in build mode right now. I've been doing a lot of mining and grabbing a bunch of stuff with it.
I was telling Chicken about that, by the way, about how you're like, this one doesn't do this, and this one doesn't do that, so I'm doing everything right here. And
what you got to do is when your cats get out of hand, you have to make sure you herd them properly and give them tasks. Give them tasks they're good at.
I don't think Oak's cats listen to that.
Or if you're really good, you can trick them into doing what you need to do and make it their idea. Because it's like, hey, we need to kill these guys. Can you can handle? Do you know where they're at? Oh yeah, you got that. Okay, perfect. Can you do that? That's a great idea. I'm glad you had that. Can you do that?
I would love that. It must be nice to have people that listen sometimes.
Yeah, it really does. Let me know if you find any.
Shut up! I help you all the time.
Yeah, we just do what we want.
Yeah.
No, you don't, Baka. No, you don't.
You do what he wants.
You do exactly what I want you to do.
You just think it's your idea.
At the time.
I got to keep the train moving somehow.
I've also been playing.
Just like the violence of things. I don't care for any of the farming.
Oh, go out and
hey, that's perfect. That's perfect. Bro.
There's stuff in there. There is literally stuff to gather off dead bodies that needs to have. You need as much of it as you possibly can. So that'd be perfect. I'd love it.
Yes.
So Baka mentioned a couple weeks ago that he had played through Mafia or whatever, and it was on sale on the Steam sale. So I was like, oh, well, I'll grab the definitive edition of it. So I've been playing it, and I'm enjoying it. The storyline is it's a Mafia game. That's all you need to know. Like, if think of anything you think of as Mafia, it's on there. But I wanted to mention some of the stuff that I've really enjoyed about the game that
shooting
is
people.
Stuff that I'm going to I am going to. I look at it from like a game development standpoint that you don't have to do, but it's kind of cool that they did some of this stuff. So, one of the things that was neat, I was in a gunfight. I was able to shoot somebody through a window, and it just put a single bullet hole through. It didn't break the whole window. That was neat. Like you saw it scatter across where the bullet hole went through.
Neat.
It's kind of neat. My favorite thing, this is the dumbest thing to be favorite thing in a game, but I thought this was cool as shit. In the game, like most games that have cars, there's a radio. Okay.
Does the door open?
No. You
no
listen
door
to
opening technology.
No, there's no door. Come on, man.
It was closing, actually. Door closing technology.
Yeah.
Carry on.
So driving down the road with the radio, and I'm having to escort somebody from point A to point B, right? So they're in the vehicle with me and I'm going, listening to the music, and I go through a tunnel. And when I do, the radio goes staticky and you can barely hear it because I'm in this tunnel. As soon as I got out of the outside of the tunnel, everything went back to normal. And I was like, they didn't have to do that, but that is fucking brilliant.
Yeah,
because
that's a nice detail.
It's just the small things that make it feel so much better.
Yes.
Yeah, and then on the other thing is too, there's speed limits in the game and there's cops, right? So they have a limiter that's built in, so you can actually hit the little back button, and when you hit that, or what used to be the back button, now it's a menu button or whatever, but you click on that, and when you do, it actually limits you to whatever the speed limit is. That's the fastest you can go. So if you're just driving from point A to point B, you don't get accidentally pulled over because you were speeding.
I'm not paying attention.
Yeah, because you're not paying attention. They do have built into it, and I went ahead and turned it on. I was telling Griff about it the other day. They have an option to skip the driving, as long as it's not an essential part of the plotline. So, like, if you do have to go from mission to mission, because a lot of these games they'll go mission to mission, and then from that spot you got to go to another part of the mission, right? You can skip the driving part, so you're not staying in the car the whole time, which I thought was a really neat touch.
Yes.
On that one, I've also been playing Stellar Blade, which so far is a great game. If you think of Bayonetta meets Dark Souls, that's basically how the game is. So it's like really good action. The gameplay is fantastic. Then on top of that, you have the whole Dark Souls. If you rest or whatever, it'll reset everything that's there. So to me, it's more like the new Star Wars games. So like that EA did with Survivor and those others, because it's easier style of play to me anyway. But you still have nice, really good boss battles. The characters are like the bosses themselves are mutated in some way, and even the things you're fighting are kind of mutated in some way. So it's kind of Dark Souls in that respect, or even Elden Ring, whatever, any of those From Software style games. So that part of it was neat. I've really enjoyed it. It's got a Final Fantasy feel to it as well. So it's kind of like, and it's probably because it's a JRPG style game, but it's neat. Like the little rest stations some of them have to where you can improve your weapon as well as the drone that's with you and something else. And then you can make new nano suits that might be available to you. You can find nano suits that are in the world, which is just her outfit. That's all it is. They can call it whatever they want to. It's her outfit.
Nano suits.
Suits.
You do nano suits, and you could do it any kind of outfit because they're
and the thing is, they're all 3 stars. It's not like it's the only way you get 1 star is if you put on the quote unquote skin suit, which means take everything off.
Hey,
perfect.
Perfect. Let's call it the birthday suit.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Griff's birthday suit.
The combos that they've set up are really nice. They feel good. The parrying system. I know that you're a big fan of parrying systems, Chicken.
No.
If they're done well, oh yes.
Oh yeah, it is so well done, and it is like it's fun. The boss battles are really fun. I've enjoyed it so far. I'm probably 3 hours in the game, something like that. I like the fact too. There's on some of the rest areas, they have a old payphone that's available that's there, and if you pull up the payphone, it allows you to be able to fast travel back to areas you've been. So if you need to grind a little bit to be able to build stuff up, you could. Or if you missed some of the chests or something like that, like secret chests and things like that.
How many people playing that game are like, what the fuck is this thing?
The payphone?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Mm-hmm. Well, what's funny to me is the game is set way in the far future, right?
Payphone still exists.
And it's kind of apocalyptic. And it's like, we don't have payphones anymore. Why in the world is this even in here? If this happens in the future, at some point, do we just go, no more cell phones. Everybody gets payphones or regular landlines again.
And we're going to go back to that.
Yeah.
Cell phones too dangerous now.
That's like if you want to buy like your health and all that stuff, it's vending machines. And it's like,
I mean, but we do, okay, to be fair, we are kind of an outlier. A lot of other places do have a lot of vending machines, especially like
That's fair.
Japan, which is...
well, and I think it's interesting because you'll go into certain rooms and everything's written in English. And then on the outside, some of the signs are written in English. And on the outside, some of the signs are written in what Russian and Ukrainian, that letter,
yeah, that
whatever.
script.
That script. It's written like that.
Cyrillic, I think.
Cyrillic. I don't think I can't remember if I found any Japanese or anything like that. Like I don't know if it's like one of those things. Maybe I'm in a particular part of town that was like used to be like the Russian part of town or what. But it's very interesting on how it's done. The gameplay, like I said, is really good. I had watched CoCarnage play it, and he enjoyed the hell out of it. And he put it in his top 10 list for 2024, like number 5 on his list. And I was like, I've been wanting to play it. I'm going to play it. So that's why I ended up getting it. I've enjoyed it so far. So recommend for at least so far. I'll let you know as I go on with it, but it's pretty fun. And Mafia is kind of my chill kill game, if that makes sense. Like there's no action other than walking in and dodging and getting behind shit and shooting people in the face.
Like you do.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I surprised Oak. Let me tell you, because I'm playing the Mass Effect trilogy again, and I've made it to 3. In the first one, and I think I might have mentioned this on the last show, but I can't remember. It tried to put me in a relationship with Caden again, and so if I was like, you know what? I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that right now. So I reloaded the save, went back to Vermeer, sacrificed Caden. I loaded up, and I was like, all right, now where do I have to go to save Ashley? Because I've never done this before. But your friend from Mass Effect 1 that survived shows up again in Mass Effect 3. Well, I started Mass Effect 3, and he happened to be around. And Ashley showed up, and I was like, what did they do to her, though? Because they BioWare fell into the same trap that a lot of games do, which is, okay, well, obviously our fan base is mostly dudes and they're thirsty, so let's make her sexy. They gave her, like, sexy makeup and changed her hair, like, it's all down now, and she's got a, very sleek, supermodel-ish look, and, like, a girly, fitted, cutesy outfit for her main outfit when you meet her. With Anderson at the start of 3 and everything, and I was like, where's my grizzled girl soldier that was, like me, grizzled girl soldier? What happened to her? Why is she a supermodel? I'm so upset that this is what they chose to do with Ashley.
It was kind of funny because I know that she does not like that character, and then her defending the character.
Yeah, he's like, are you actually defending Ashley? I was like, yes! I mean...
Oh, it was so good.
I was looking forward to it. I was like, okay, cool. We'll be 2, badass ladies together. And she turned out to be, Miranda Light for some reason, which is not what she is in the first one. First game, she's Soldier Girl, low makeup, if any, hair pulled back because it's more practical that way and things like that. And then she's a supermodel now.
Maybe she was always a supermodel.
They also did not, by the way, they prettied her up, but did not give her the same promotion Caden got. Because by the time you meet Caden in 3,
you were really mad about.
Major Alenko. She's still Lieutenant Williams.
Oh, damn.
They did not give her the promotion that he got, and I don't know why. I'm not sure what happened there, because theoretically, they're interchangeable in the backstory, but for some reason... So... I'm like, all right, then.
I feel like there was a reason why that was put in somewhere, and it was removed from the game.
I guess Caden focused on the military and him being out places, while Ashley focused on getting her hair done somewhere, she didn't get the promotion.
She was on the equivalent of one of the makeover shows or whatever, like the celebrity makeover type.
Yeah.
Deals.
What was what's his name's rank?
Major.
Yeah. Because her rank may be higher.
Really?
Because
I guess maybe she started out higher then.
Well, this whole thing is Mass Effect. She was a gunnery chief, aka E5. In Mass Effect 2, she's promoted to chief operations E6, and then somehow in 6 months she went to O4, which is lieutenant commander. It's like one of the highest.
Okay.
Rankings.
they said major for
somehow-
Caden, so I'm like, oh, I guess that's
Yeah.
Somehow higher up. It sounds
Lieutenant
better,
Commander is pretty high. Okay, in 6 months she graduated from the Alliance Officers Candidate School, or equivalent, as second lieutenant, promoted from second lieutenant to first lieutenant, promoted again to staff lieutenant, and then promoted a final time to lieutenant commander.
Okay.
So she went.
How'd she have time to do all of that while she's getting her hair done?
Well, to be fair, she's an absolute beast.
She is, but they could have let her continue to look the part. They
Hold
didn't
on,
need
hold
to
on
make
just a
her
second.
into-
Because you started saying the E6 and all the other stuff, and I was like, wait a second. So Major would have been Army, Lieutenant Commander is Navy.
Hey, well, does that
Oh.
apply to the same rules in Mass
I don't know.
Effect?
I'm just
Okay.
saying that if you're trying to make those same rules and go through
I don't know.
all the E5, the OF3s, all that stuff that's there, that is part of the Navy.
Huh.
Okay.
So are they different parts of the Alliance then? Because they're
Maybe?
all Alliance military, but I know that there are different versions of that. I think because I think Vega mentions being a Marine. So I guess
Right.
maybe we do still have different branches of military all under the Alliance umbrella. I don't know. I don't know how it works. I'm not
was he?
familiar
He was a
enough with the
major?
military to know. Yeah, he was major.
Okay.
Major
I think
Alenko.
Yeah. Yeah, because she's absolutely an officer. Because you go lieutenant commander, and then the only people above you are commander, captain, rear admiral, lower half, rear admiral, upper half, vice admiral, and admiral. Like your bosses are the bosses.
Something's weird about that because I'm a commander and I report to Hackett, who's an admiral. Something's weird about the command scheme.
You're
Commander
commander, and
Shepard.
Yeah,
Rep-
he's an
Yeah, but
Admiral.
you're reporting to an
Admiral.
admiral. Admiral's
You're
the top of the...
reporting to an
Oh,
admiral.
okay. You
That's
said it
that's
backwards.
equivalent to a
Sorry, I
general.
thought you were listing it. I'm sorry.
Admiral
That's
is
my fault.
the biggest big dog in the
Yeah,
army.
that's what I
He is
thought.
the
Okay.
one.
When you listed it the other way, I thought you were listing them in downward ranks. So I was like, wait a minute now. That doesn't work.
And you're sure that he was a major?
I'm
Oh, Alliance Marines. Hold on, is further down. I'm reading this now.
Look here. We've got to go back and learn military
Okay.
ranks.
So officer ranks. All right. So you have second lieutenant, first lieutenant, captain, major. So 1, 2, 3, 4 in the section.
She's a Navy, he's a Marine. That's
Right.
why.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
and
we
so-
do still have different branches of military all under the
Right.
Alliance.
And they're both the same rank technically. They're both the 4th rank in the thing. So
Okay.
they're
That makes me feel a little
Technically,
better,
they
but
are
they
this-
still didn't have to pretty her up, okay? She did not need the
What do you
supermodel
mean
makeover.
they didn't have to pretty up? They had to pretty her up. The graphics went up.
The graphics went up, but that doesn't mean you gotta slap Miranda's level of makeup on her and then get her hair blown out and highlighted.
I'm
Are
just gonna
you
say
judging
she is
a
now
woman
an
for the
officer
makeup
and
she
not an
wears?
enlisted person.
No, I'm just saying I liked it because she was similar grizzled level to me, and now she's not, and
And she went through so much that she changed. Let her adapt. You can't be judging people based on their choices.
Yeah, she's no longer having to be out in the field. She's now commanding people.
Yeah.
Exactly.
she's
Well,
a
I guess she's
lieutenant
gonna
commander.
command people from the deck of the Normandy because she's gonna sit her ass on the ship. Granted, to be fair, Caden also, once he is on the Normandy in 3 for me, usually sits his ass on the ship. Sorry. Garrus is perma squad, and then I usually swap around my aliens.
What else have you played, Griff?
Fallout 4, started that up again because I can't play new games. I can only play old stuff.
Ain't that true?
And it's been super
You had
great.
Silent
I
Hill. You
just
bought
wanna...
Silent Hill. You could have played that again.
Yes, I am. But I also really want to play Resident Evil 4 again.
Go for it.
So,
That game is incredible.
but
Ugh.
yeah, I loaded that up once I got all my mods and stuff in order and had to fix it. Fixed it myself. Feel good about that. I troubleshooted my own problem instead of asking Chicken.
You asked me. Don't give me that. I just couldn't fix
No,
the problem that time.
your other one, the other one, I had 2 issues, and one of which I could
okay.
not fix or find a resolution for, neither could Chicken. He's gonna look at it later. But the one that I could find a resolution for, I fixed and everything.
Nice, I get it because you had a resolution problem.
Okay, yeah, that's the one that we can't fix though. But other than that, no, just mostly our normal junk. Oh, we've been playing a lot of board games. We found a board game that we like now, because of course we do. It's called Unstable Unicorns. It's a card game. We're gonna play it with the group probably next week because it's my birthday, or this weekend because it's my birthday.
I was gonna say it's your birthday weekend.
So everybody will get to play with that, and with 8 people, I imagine that's not gonna be hard at all. Um,
Man, it's gonna be aggressive,
it's something else.
no doubt.
That game is something else.
Be aggressive.
I want to play that
Yeah.
and Cards Against Humanity. So Kat's just gonna have to get ready. Her wholesome demeanor got to go out the window next Friday. She's got to be as bad as the rest of us. I hope she's ready.
Yeah,
I thought she already
She is
was.
too.
No.
she has her moments.
Yeah. So.
There's a difference between stabbing people and Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a
You are
that's a big
definitely
difference.
not wrong. Yeah, I
Uh,
mean there is a
Like two midgets shitting in a bucket.
No takesy backsies. The lifetime story of two midgets shitting in a bucket. It's probably the gameplay that we have laughed the hardest at IRL ever in our entire lives. Which sound
No
like when you
takesy
say it out loud out of
backsies.
context, it's not funny at all.
Yeah.
But at the moment, we laughed. All of us were crying. It was great.
Yeah, we had to stop playing for a minute.
Yeah.
well, I forgot it was something like so and so.
Lifetime presents.
Oh yes, Lifetime
n-
presents.
No takesy
So and
backsies.
No
So-
takesy backsies. The story of two midgets shitting in a bucket.
It's awful. Cards Against Humanity makes you a really bad person, but it's so fun to have an outlet to be a bad person for a few hours without
Called
hurting
venting.
anybody.
It's called venting, and it
Yes.
works.
So anyway,
Yes.
we'll be doing that next weekend, so I'm sure we'll have
Yes.
stories
All
in
right.
next show. Anything else? You guys,
Baka,
go.
what have you been playing?
Well, lots of Season of Discovery. Trying to get
Wow.
the gear. Yep, get gear into that, and trying to farm for that fucking Crusader enchant, but it's just not dropping.
It never does if you want it.
If it makes you feel any better, it's not. But I saw somebody who posted a picture who got a Crusader enchant drop, and then the next kill they got another one.
I fucking hate those
Somebody got
people.
yours is basically what he was
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Somebody got-
Because, well, that's what I was farming. I was like, well, I'm going to farm one because I'm going to need it for later. And then I'm going to farm a second one and sell it for a bunch of money so
And
I
you
can
can't
finally
even
get
get
my
one.
epic pony. Yeah,
So
I
you
can even
think-
fucking get one. And I went out there earlier today, and there's people sitting in the tower just farming it. Like, one's at the top, one's at the bottom. Just like, motherfucker.
Oh yeah. Is that the only
Um,
place it drops is in that tower?
Well, it's the spellbinders, and that's where they spawn the most. Like
Gotcha.
I went running back and forth up and down the road, picking off some of them here and there,
But nothing.
a little bit. But yeah, none of I didn't get anything.
Damn.
I did start up a little bit of Stardew Valley here and there.
Ooh.
Messed around with started putting some visual mods and stuff like that in there because the vanilla game is kind of boring.
Yeah, I can understand that.
And other than that, my Marvel Rivals.
Yeah, we've been
Yes.
playing a lot of that too. That's fun. Something else.
It's great to have an Overwatch game to play. I like to have a PvP
It's
game.
not over.
It plays like Overwatch, whatever.
It's
It's
just
better than
Overwatch.
Overwatch. Yeah. It's just Overwatch with Marvel heroes on it.
It's been fun though.
Yeah. Is that all you've got, Baka?
Yeah, that's kind of all I've been playing lately.
Cool. All I've played is WoW. Season of Discovery, and whenever I'm forced to play. Oh, we had a couple of demos that we tried. Backrooms chained together. Baka had to quit. Baka had to quit.
Yeah.
He couldn't do it.
So here's the thing with that one. I loaded it up by myself and ran through it no problem.
Oh yeah, I could do it no problem.
But that's not the
But
challenge.
dragging-
The challenge is chained together with your dumb friends. And the like rubber banding and poor physics and people slapping you in the back and yeah.
You don't understand how difficult it was to do Baka with Red as one of your chains. It was me, Cat, Red, Griff. And oh my god, Cat, I could feel the stress through her screen trying to make sure that she was staying with me the whole time. Because if she didn't jump with me, it was always pulling me back and then I'd die, which happened
A lot.
Red would push me off, and then I would just be hanging off the side, asking Cat to pull me up because I'm just dangling there. Get me! Oh, don't let me die! And then she would slip off, or Red would push her, and then we'd all fall and die. Be like, if I have to see that chainsaw or swinging log again or laser beam, I swear I'm gonna lose my mind. Because it was the last section is jump a little hole or jump a little crevice. Then you go past a swinging log. Then you go past a chainsaw. Then you line up together as a group of 4 and run past the laser beam that's chopping your legs off. You have to do it in perfect sync, and if you don't, you miss. Somebody gets lasered or fall off. One of the times I missed my jump, I fell off underneath the laser and got pulled up after the laser I flew up into the air because the mechanics are shit. Then I flew up into the air and just like floated to the rest of the group because it's like, okay.
We just like to say the mechanics are humorous, sir.
Yeah, whatever.
The floating thing is great when it happens because you're like, no, I'm all fucked up. Oh, no, I'm fine. But if you float too high and you cannot control height, but if you float too high, the ceiling also kills you.
Yes. If you get them to jump right as the front 2 people are running as fast as they can, it basically turns them into a kite and you can drag them through the air.
Which is great until it's not.
Oh, God.
That's going to be a fun game when it comes out.
Then played Whisper Mountain. That's a pretty good game. It is a 2.5D top-down zombie survival game-ish. It's mission-based. You load in, you have to fight your way through the mission, solve puzzles, things like that, get gear, fight off hordes. It's pretty neat too. There's a demo. Whisper Mountain. Forgot what the rest of it's called, but that one's pretty good. And Chained in the Back Rooms. So that one's fun too. But yeah, Marvel and all the rest of that. My gaming days are
we
not
did
very...
go through the back rooms as well.
Yeah, we did that too. That one was... Once we
What,
figured
in the
out
back
how it
rooms?
worked, it was great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just
we
the back
finished that
rooms
one.
one.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
Marvel Rivals, and I think there was something else.
Oh, the escape room thing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
we had
Escape
fun with that
Simulator.
one.
Escape Simulator. Man, my brain is too damn slow sometimes for that kind of... It's like I'm overthinking and overcorrecting, and then it's like, it's not that hard. It's really not that hard. Just have your child come and show you what button you're supposed to... Oh. Click.
I got to feel good about
okay.
some of them, okay?
I'm just too dumb for it. I'm good at like strategic planning and things like that and whatnot. I'm just overthink some of the earlier ones. Ugh. The ghost one killed me because it was look at the tree.
That's the one I figured out. You let me have my moment.
I know you did. It's because none of us looked at the damn tree. And then Griff's like, "Oh, look at that." Like, "Oh, okay, good job." I try to use logic as much as I can, but it's like, where is it? It has to be somewhere. They're not gonna give you an answer somewhere. I'm gonna make you guess. But yeah, that's what we've been playing, or I've been playing, mostly WoW. I've got just a few days left on my account before it goes down, and I've almost got what I want out of it. Almost.
But for now.
I mean, I have 4 items that I need to get that will basically put me at a point where I need to actually find a group to raid with. I can't pug from this point on. I mean, I could, but it's going to be a little trickier from here because then it's just new content that I'm at, and the next phase is about to start, and so I'm not doing next. I just wanted to do the new dungeon, to be honest. I just wanted to see what they had in store. So I'll be geared enough to be able to get into a group to do that and see, and then I'll be happy. For now.
I'll be happy for now.
Yeah, happy for now. So, but yeah, that's what I've been playing. Mostly WoW and a few other party games here and there.
Period.
Not very exciting.
Awesome.
I mean, that's pretty exciting.
The little...
You got to do it so that like nobody knows what you're doing.
Weirdos.
Yes,
Uh,
that's us.
Anything else?
No.
That's it for me.
I'm gonna go fold laundry.
Because we're at like an hour and 20.
I
Yeah,
know.
I know.
I tried
I
to
know.
get
It's
it
supposed
to
to be
move.
short. I got
I tried
laundry
to get it
do.
to
Blah, blah,
move,
blah.
but whatever. Go finish it up.
We appreciate everybody hanging out with us every other week at If It Respawn. Make sure that you hit that sub button as well as the little bell that's down at the bottom, or follow us on whatever format you happen to be listening to us on. As always, have a great day. My name is Oak Tree.
I'm Griff.
I'm Chicken.
I'm Bucket.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
hang up and try again.